Thank you for staying with us. Let's get reaction now from India on Queen Elizabeth II's passing. She, of course, passed away yesterday at the age of 96. And joining us now is our India correspondent, Bundhun, just to give us details. Of course, India has a long history with Britain before it actually, acquired its independence through Mahatma Gandhi, etc. So what was the reaction from the people of India to the Queen's passing yesterday and today?
Yes, that's right. There's a very painful colonial history, and India hasn't forgotten that. People have very grim memories and perception of that period of time. And having said that, though, Queen Elizabeth II is generally quite favourably perceived. She was considered a bridge between the UK and India, following as well, like she came to power in 1952. That was 5 years after India actually achieved independence. So she was a post-colonial leader. And although a lot of people in India, there are many people who don't really approve of the monarchy in general because of the situation, the history that the country went through, they do have respect. They did have respect for the Queen. And it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi that actually led the tributes here, and he talked about Queen Elizabeth II being such an inspirational leader. He expressed his sadness on Twitter. He also talked about her warmth when he met her in 2015 and 2018. He visited the United Kingdom, and he also talked about how she showed him a handkerchief that had been gifted to her by Mahatma Gandhi during the period of her marriage. So he said that was such a warm gesture that he'd never forget. And we have to remember as well that Queen Elizabeth II visited India 3 times. She travelled across the country extensively. She was here in 1961, in 1983, and then again in 1997. That was the last official visit, and that's when India actually marked 50 years of independence. And again, there was some criticism as well, because people remembered there was a massacre in 1919 when 1,000 people, unarmed people, were killed under the orders of a British officer, and that incident was actually recalled. The Queen visited a monument there and laid a wreath, but these memories are still there in India. But still, generally, there's a sense of sadness that this is the end of an era.
And of course, a lot of people, like you said, remember those tough days, and a lot of them were asking themselves whether Britain was involved in the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. But talking about that 1997 trip, I think it's the one where you see the beautiful picture of the Queen and her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh. I think they were at the Taj Mahal in Agra during that time, and it was then when she described the people of India as warm and people who could teach them a few lessons, didn't she?
Yes, that was right. This was actually the first time as well during her visits that she referenced the incidents of the past. She talked about difficult episodes. So she made a reference to the distressing things that had happened in the past. She actually brought those up. But certainly her trips to India, there are a lot of wonderful photos of her trip to India, and generally she was warmly received as she travelled across the country. We have to remember as well that India is the largest Commonwealth member. The Commonwealth has a population of just over 2 billion, and there are 1.4 billion people in India. So there's a very, very strong relationship between the UK and India, and this only improved under the Queen as she developed that strong relationship. There have actually been 18 prime ministers in India during all the years, the decades that she was the monarch there. And we have to remember as well that, of course, in the UK there's a massive Indian diaspora, so that again kind of cements that strong relationship between the two countries. But yeah, still, of course, we have to remember that there is that difficult colonial past.
Rebecca, thank you very much for that report. That was our India correspondent, Rebecca Bundhun, just telling us a bit more about how India has reacted to the death of Queen Elizabeth II.